I come with a heavy heart from Nigeria, but first I'd like to apologize to Honorable Kafila Obara. I am not here to bring shame to our country. I'm here to seek help for the women of Nigeria. Again, my name is Senator Natasha Akpabio. 5 days ago, on the 6th of March 2025, I was suspended. As a senator, I was suspended illegally because I submitted a petition of sexual harassment against the President of the Nigerian Senate, Senator Akpabio. I thought that by submitting the petition, he would recuse himself, and both of us will submit ourselves to the Committee on Ethics, Privileges and Public Petition for a fair and transparent investigation. But unfortunately, I was silenced and I was suspended. I was suspended for 6 months, amongst many other stringent conditions, such as taking away my security, taking away all the officials, vehicles, and other items that were handed over to me as a senator. My salaries will be cut off. I must not appear anywhere near the National Assembly. And for 6 months, I'm not to introduce myself or present myself as a senator locally in Nigeria or internationally. That means I'm here illegally, but I have no other place to go but to come here and speak to you women, because this is a bigger picture. This is a bigger picture. It depicts the crisis of women political representation. My suspension is not just about me. It's about the systemic exclusion of women from political leadership in Nigeria. Women make up 3.6% of political offices, and in the Senate, it's just 2.8. We have 109 men, and only 4 of us are women. So right now, it's 108 with only 3 women. This is a clear case of political victimization, punishment for speaking out against impunity, corruption, and gender-based violence. The United Nations Declaration 48/104 declares sexual harassment as a form of gender violence. The Senate's actions are an assault on democracy. I was elected by my constituents to represent them. Yet a few powerful men have unilaterally decided to silence their voices by suspending me for 6 months. My call for an open and transparent investigation into harassment allegations have been met with hostility instead of accountability. If a female senator can be treated this way in the full view of the world, imagine what ordinary Nigerian women will go through every day in workplaces.
Welcome back to Christy TV, my correct people. Dem Senator Natasha takes this suspension case against Akpabio to global stage. Suspended Kogi Central Senator Natasha Akpabio has taken her case against the Senate President of Nigeria, known as Akpabio, to the global stage, addressing the Inter-Parliamentary Union, IPU, at the United Nations in New York. Today, this woman has expressed as a woman, speaking at the Women in Parliament session. She described her suspension as illegal and linked it to her petition against Akpabio over alleged harassment. Overcome with emotion during her speech, which you all saw in this particular video that we just finished watching. Don't be that alone, my people. Even when it has come to our notice that these people that we are protesting for Akpabio, they are protesting against Senator Natasha. We are promised 1,000 naira. Even as they promised the 1,000 naira, fake it drum, 500 naira they have not seen. They are crying and they are protesting for free. In fact, they are protesting for pledge. Wahala, they say it be like bicycle. I don't understand the type of country we find ourselves into. How can a grown-up man or woman come out on stage to protest against something you don't even know? Because you know that Senator Akpabio is a Senate. Finish. He's a Senate president. Wahala be like bicycle.
There's no accusation. If you are being accused or alleged of something, the best thing to do is to resign. Let them investigate you. Let them have free access to facts. It's not by saying and sponsoring protests here and there. No, this is an allegation. The woman involved is a lawyer, very matured, as old as a France president. So she couldn't come out to lie against any human being. But if you are accused or alleged, the best thing for you is to step aside. There was a little issue in the National Assembly. David Mark stepped aside. Senator David Mark was the chairman of the Senate. He stepped aside. So we expect free and fair hearing. We are not against our Senate president. But if behind the scene he is doing all this kind of thing, then it is not good for our democracy. It is not good for his own personality. The lady is as old as his daughter. So why harassing the girl? Why? Instead of making law to reduce poverty in Nigeria, you are busy changing seats, Senate seat. What has that got to do in the life of African Nigeria? This is the time we want a palliative. What will remove our pain from us, not what will add more pain to us. She was voted like Akpabio was voted. She has her right as a senator. Why don't you change the position of the Senate president if it's a general thing to be done? Why? Why changing of seat at this critical moment of our democracy? I don't think it's a problem. Your name, sir? My name is Citizen Aku Goodman. Citizen Aku Goodman. Citizen Aku Goodman.
To our Senate President, Senator Akpabio, we are giving him ultimatum of 2 days, that is 48 hours, to reverse the suspension of Senator Natasha and stop the harassment from northern senators. Or else, we'll occupy the streets. It's our duty. The last protest you will see what we did. It's in our vein for us to occupy the street. We'll occupy the whole street of northern Nigeria. We'll also occupy the National Assembly. We'll occupy the Senate. And demand for the resignation of Senator Akpabio. Furthermore, we will block Lokoja Lagos roads in a way that there will be no supply of food from the north to the south, and there will be no supply of other goods from south to the north. Please, our great president, President Bola Ahmed TINUBU, we are calling his attention for him to interfere and for him to stop people like Akpabio from all this busybody by spoiling his administration. And said enough is enough. If you could remember, I think before the Senator Natasha and Akpabio Sega, it was Abdul Ningi versus Akpabio. Then later on, Senator Ali Ndumi versus Akpabio. Now it is Senator Natasha versus Akpabio. The question I want to ask here, why is it that it's always a northern senators? People who has voted him in that position. Then in addition to what my friend said here, that why is it that we, the northern youth, said Akpabio is anti-north? My friend, please, you should make your research and give us a single development from the northern Nigerian ever since Akpabio resumed as Senate President. The northern Nigerian has no single support from Akpabio. And we are calling for Mr. President, His Excellency President Bola Ahmed TINUBU, as a father from the north, because he's our father from the north. We, the northern Nigerian, voted him. And we support him, and we will keep on supporting him as our president. It's our constitutional right to defend our president. So we are calling the attention of Mr. President for him to please call the attention of Senator Akpabio, the Senate President. Let me tell you what you don't know. Akpabio stopped the project of NLNG gas pipeline project that will link from Kogi State to Kaduna to Kanu, in fact, to other African countries, Morocco.
that ordinarily she needs to be informed if a seat is changed, not at the floor where she's making her positions. It is from that incident that led to the case of suspension today. But before then, the Honorable Senator has said, distinguished colleagues, she has a petition. If there was a case of suspension that has to do with misconduct, that ordinarily has to be treated before even submitting a petition. She submitted a petition and there was a case of she cannot sign her petition. It is in the case of this front and back that a chagrin kind of suspension came. And we are all aware in this country that this is not the first case of sexual harassment made by the Senate President. The Senate President ordinarily should not be in the seat of Senate President. Why? We are all aware that this Senate President has questionable character before even the AFCC. We are all surprised to see him as Senate President. And this is not the first time we are having a case of sexual harassment. So if we are peddling a case of sexual harassment with gross misconduct of Senator Natasha, I think we also need to understand that something led to something before the case of suspension.
But our stand still remains. We will not allow anyone, no matter how big you think you are, to reduce our strength and our commitments as women and mothers in the society. Whether they have the personal vendetta is not the issue. This is not about Natasha. This is about Natasha's gender. And she is a woman like me. It's something that I preach every time. And it's a spirit of togetherness. When something affects one woman, when something affects one child, when something affects one female, it affects every one of us. If then they call woman Olosho, or then they call us a shower, they don't get particular woman who then they call a shower. If they want to abuse, say you be a shower, then go call you, say you be a shower. And as a fellow woman, when you see somebody calling a fellow woman and a shower like you, shame they reap for our face. If people in high positions will suspend a female on the grounds that she has accused the Senate President of sexual harassment. What you're trying to do is you're trying to drain the battery and the energy of every woman out there to learn to keep quiet in the face of adversary. To learn to keep quiet because of the shame. We would have preferred if the Senate President steps aside as a man who claims that he has four females and who has shamelessly turned the house into a kiss-a-thon and a love-a-thon competition because the do-others come to kiss affectionately in public. Suddenly, the wife of the Senate President has started to render a kiss to show compassion and support to her beloved husband. I don't think you can be a judge in your own case. And the Senate has proven to us that it seems like there's a cult and a cabal going on. It would have been better if Natasha was properly investigated and Natasha was found lying and then Natasha is punished. Then that would be a shame on womanhood that you want to use your gender to intimidate or subdue or oppress a fellow man. The narrative in the public space is that Natasha was suspended. I've seen a lot of our adults, women coming on the media space. If you all claim that you've passed through that institution and you have passed that stage of sexual harassment, what I would have expected of our female adults is to summon Natasha, scold Natasha, explain to her, make her understand that that is an institution of authority and she's not only representing Kogi, she's representing we women in power because we're supposed to be more and there are just 4 of them. So Natasha is like a standalone now who has to fight the feminine battle. No, she's not standing alone in this. We are waving our support for a female who has claimed that she was sexually harassed. And we would appreciate if they push further to investigate and come out and tell us that she was guilty, she was telling a lie, rather than trying to intimidate her. Whether both of you have personal issues is none of our interest. According to the Senate President and Natasha has traveled about 3 times on official assignment afterwards. The timing Natasha said what she said might not be right. The way Natasha said what she said might not be right. The platform Natasha said what she said might not be right. But Natasha is a female and no woman will come out that she has been sexually harassed and we will keep quiet. Don't forget, in the same country where we are, our minors are being sexually assaulted on a daily basis. Our women are molested on a daily basis. And a lot of them cannot come out to talk because of the fear of oppression and intimidation. So if a high-positioned woman comes out to say that she was sexually harassed, and you are trying to subdue and silence her voice, then what is the fate of our young girls? You will not call us weak in the face of our troubles. You cannot shame we women because we already know that we have problems and challenges we're facing because we're females. On that note, we're trying to appeal to the Senate to take a different direction, a turnaround concerning the case of Natasha Akpabio. If not, you might be calling for the war of females. You might be calling for a stand-up of we women, because one woman is all women and one female is our gender. And we owe an allegiance to stand up anytime, any day, regardless of how big or how small you are. Nobody, no woman deserves to be silenced, and no woman deserves to be intimidated. Thank you all, and we will definitely come out on our next move on this issue. Thank you, fellow Nigerians. Thank you all the women who have come out to support. And to those of you women who have not understood that this is not an individual battle or a battle against an individual or a person. This is the battle for, against, and in support of we women being oppressed in the face of adversity. Thank you.
A woman speaks and powers feel threatened. She calls for injustice, they silence her. She stands for truth, they push her aside. Natasha Akpabio fought for her seat. They suspended her, all because she was trying to demand for justice. But let's be clear, this is not just about her. It's a warning to every woman who dares to rise. Natasha is not alone. You can take her seat but not her voice, and you can never silence the truth.
This injustice will not be sustained.
We, the Nigerian women, for sustainable democracy, quickly ask the Kogi electorate from Kogi Central Senatorial District to recall Senator Natasha. Without delay, all Nigerian men, wives, and children must rise to condemn this false allegation of sexual harassment against the very Reverend Senate President, who has proven himself as a good leader beyond all measures.